YouTube, and welcome to Your Success Stories. I am your girl Nika Johnson, and I'm gonna help you get there. I am a credit coach and budgeting expert, and I help people take control of their money. And today we'll be talking about how to get free money, aka equity. Can you imagine that your bills and your credit got you in a chokehold and you trying to find a way out just so you can be able to grow your business or pay your bills on time or do what you need to do? The fact of the matter is, if you knew about the importance of equity and how it could benefit you, you could go ahead and get yourself out that situation. Let's get to it. So while we're talking about how do we access free money, let's talk about what is equity essentially. The simplest way of how to think of equity is the difference between how much something is worth versus what you owe. So you can have equity in a car, in a house, or in a business, or maybe some relationships too, but we ain't gonna talk about that today. So you can have equity in those several areas, and basically it's access to free money. It's you could spend $100,000 on this house and the value of it increase over time, so now it's worth $200,000, and you could take the difference between the two. So let me teach you on how to access this free money and what you could be able to do with it. A lot of people don't know what is equity, and it's just basically when something appreciates, right? So three terms that I want to kind of touch on just briefly is assets, liabilities, and equity. What is assets? Asset is the value of something. So that person that you're sleeping next to every night, are they an asset or they're a liability? Are they adding value? Are they appreciating you? Do your value in this relationship, is it an equal exchange, or do you feel like they're draining? So think about it. When you have somebody give you a call, one of your friends, ring, 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 ring. Hey girl, how you doing? And your mood change instantly. Or are they always negative, always gossiping, or they never take control of why they're where they at in life, and you be like, oh my gosh, they're draining. People like that is a liability. So we know the difference of, okay, asset and liability. A liability is a risk that you're willing to take that can be for something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to come on the other side on a better spectrum of it. So when you think about, we got, okay, what is an asset? People could be an asset. Businesses could be an asset. You know, you can have insurance as an asset. You can have properties. You have all these things that could be assets. Your cars could be an asset. Or if we're debating, that could be considered a depreciation too. Now we're talking about equity. Why is that important? So we could be able to know how to access this free money. So let's say, for example, if you have a vehicle. So let's say you have a 2023 BMW and it's worth $100,000, but you only owe $50,000. You could take the difference of that and borrow against it. The reason why equity is so powerful is because some people don't even know that they have equity in their home. They don't know that they have equity in their car. So you could be able to borrow the equity out of your car, and you could use equity for a variety of things to be able to invest into real estate or any type of investments. If you want to be able to pay off debt, you could use your equity to be able to leverage your credit. To simplify this video, the two types of equity that I want to focus on is either equity in a car or equity in a house. So equity in a car could say that you owe $20,000 on this vehicle, but the vehicle's worth $30,000. You could take the difference, $30,000 minus $20,000, and borrow the difference between that, which is $10,000. What you could do with that equity is use it to whatever at your leisure. Now what happens is, so let's say if you currently have a loan on a vehicle, you can use the difference and use that equity for your intended purposes. This is a good thing that I always recommend of, let's say if you got any type of credit card debt or any type of debt, you could consolidate that debt by bundling that up into your auto loan and paying it off to whatever item is on your credit report. Because typically a loan that is secured is going to have a lower interest rate versus a loan that's unsecured. What I mean by that, a secured loan is going to be some type of collateral, a house, a car, something of value. So if you default, the bank will come pick that up. Now, unsecured is like if you're doing a personal loan, a debt consolidation, there's no collateral. You have to qualify for that, right? So you can be able to use the difference for whatever intended purpose. Now, let's say, for example, if you have a vehicle that's free and clear, you own that title. Typically, banks will give you a loan up to the last 10 years for that. Now, if it's outside of that, it's very slim to none where banks is willing to be able to place a lien on that. So let's say, for example, if you have a car that is free and clear. Okay, let's say this is, for example purposes, this was my title. So you could take this title, give it over to the bank, and they could turn around and place a loan on that and give you the value of whatever that is. Yes, your credit is going to be dependent on that, but some people don't even realize on how to use the equity and how to be able to leverage it and how to grow more. So equity can be in a car. Basically means that it is worth more than what you owe, simply put. So you also have equity in a house. Let's say that the house is worth $500,000, but you owe $200,000. You'll take 500 minus 200,000, and the difference is what you will have equity in that. So when you're doing equity in a house, there's two options. You could do a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, or a HELoan, which is a home equity loan. I would do a separate video to kind of break that down a little bit more if needed. How do you access equity into a house is because you could do a HELOC, which is similar as a credit card that is revolving for typically a 20-year draw period. So it's available for 20 years. Sometimes it may be available for 30 years, but you have this draw period that you could borrow against the funds, pay it back, borrow, pay it back. That is a HELOC. When we're talking about equity, you could basically use the equity out of your house. I have done that, and you can see this example here. So imagine if you have 5 houses and they're all worth $100,000. That's $500,000 that you have in equity that you could be able to go use and go flip and run up a bag. But ultimately, that's the simplest way on how to put what is equity. Why is equity important? Because it means that you could go make more money. Basically, you could create passive income, residual income, make money in your sleep. Do I need to keep talking about it? You can leave your 9 to 5 based off of this if you wanted to, but don't necessarily have to. But equity allows people to have that peace of mind. In loan, you got a strategy. Now, don't be going out here like folks be, I need $50,000 in funding, $50,000 in funding, but you have nothing to do with it. So the reality is make for sure that you have a plan and a strategy when you know you're going to use that equity. Make for sure that it's going to put you on a step up when it comes to your finances and not a step back. Another thing is when you're leasing a car, did you realize that a lease has equity in a car? So you may lease that car for 3 years, whatever the time duration is, but don't just go ahead and sell that vehicle back. You can turn around and go resell it to be able to make money off of it. Let's say, for example, you had a car payment for $500 a month for 12 months. That's $6,000 a year. So now imagine if you had that lease for 3 years, you just paid $18,000 for that vehicle. That's free money that you're basically giving out to the bank that you don't want to pocket. That don't make sense. So never just give the car back. Make for sure you make some money back from it. I have helped people make anywhere between $9,000 and $11,000. How do you even get equity? It comes down to negotiations. When you purchase that house, did you go over asking? Or did you give a competitive offer? When you got that vehicle, was your credit piss poor? Because you ain't got much negotiation or wiggle room when it comes to that. Or was you able to fight for your rights? Because you got good credit, you let that credit talk for you like I do, baby. But the reality is you're going to be able to access equity. It's going to come down to getting good deals, to be able to negotiate. It's going to help you as far as doing your research when it comes to economic development in your areas. It could be an untapped market, but within 5-10 years, they develop all around it. That's going to skyrocket that equity in your area. So these are examples of how you access that equity. During the pandemic, you've seen so many people getting rid of their house. Why? Because they may purchase a house for $400,000, but then when they sold it, it was worth $600,000. So they took that difference, right? So this is an example of how you can access equity. Your next question will be, how do I actually tap into my equity? That's simple. Banks. Your local financial institutions, whoever you're doing business with. Remember, I always tell y'all, build these relationships with your bankers. Quit doing business through Cash App and Chime. Make for sure that you are doing business with a reputable company. You could be able to rate shop in your area to see what type of promotions that they have, or simply call and see what can they do for you. So it's simple, just have that conversation. So make for sure you watch this video and learn and understand the importance of equity, because a lot of times this information is not being taught in the schools. It's not taught in the education systems until it's too late. So I'm teaching you everything that the schools don't want you to know. But this is the simplest way I want to explain what is equity because now I can teach you on how to leverage that equity and run up the bat and get 6 figures in credit. I hope this video helped you. Comment down below if you knew what equity was before you watched this. Make sure you like, you comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notifications and show your girl some love. Make sure you watch my next video to be able to help you on how to leverage 6 figures when it comes to credit. And before we get out of here, I just got one question for you. Is that in your budget?